Eli Mercer had lived on the Double Creek Ranch for so long that silence had become his native language. The wind moving through the dry grass spoke to him more clearly than people ever had, and the low calls of cattle felt safer than conversation. He was 42 years old, broad-shouldered, hard-working, and painfully shy, a man who could rebuild a fence in a storm but struggled to say good morning without feeling awkward. Most folks in the nearby town thought of him as polite but distant, a man who nodded more than he talked, who left stores quickly and never stayed for coffee. What no one saw was how lonely he truly was. The ranch house, once filled with warmth, now echoed with emptiness. His mother's laughter had disappeared when he was just a boy, and his father, strong but emotionally closed, had raised him with discipline instead of affection. When his father passed away 5 years earlier, Eli became the last Mercer on the land. Nights grew longer, meals grew smaller, and conversations stopped altogether. The realization that something was wrong came not through sadness but through hunger. One evening, Eli sat at his kitchen table staring at an open can of beans, cold, untouched. His hands trembled, not from weakness but from exhaustion. The doctor had warned him weeks ago, "You're surviving, not living." That sentence haunted him. For the first time, Eli admitted the truth: he didn't just need food. He needed another human presence. So the next morning, with shaking hands, he pinned a small handwritten notice at the local trading post. Cook needed. Ranch work. Fair pay. Room provided. He expected it to be ignored. 3 days later, just as the sun dipped behind the red hills, a tall woman approached the ranch on foot. Eli was repairing a gate when he saw her silhouette against the sky, upright, steady, unafraid. She stopped a respectful distance away. "Mr. Mercer?" she asked gently. He nodded, suddenly nervous. "My name is Aiyana Bege," she said. "I heard you need a cook." She was Navajo, with deep brown eyes that held quiet wisdom. Her long black hair was braided neatly down her back, and she carried herself with dignity rather than confidence. There was something grounding about her presence, like the land itself had sent her. Eli stumbled over his words. I don't need anything fancy." Aiyana smiled softly. Food doesn't need to be fancy to heal someone. That sentence alone convinced him. From the very first morning, Aiyana transformed the ranch. Eli woke to the smell of fresh bread and herbs. The kitchen, once a place of neglect, became warm again. She cooked with patience, never rushing, never wasting. She didn't ask personal questions, didn't pry, but she noticed everything. She noticed how Eli ate quickly, as if afraid the meal might disappear. She noticed how he avoided eye contact when thanked. She noticed how he never spoke of himself unless spoken to first. And most of all, she noticed the sadness he tried to hide behind kindness. As days passed, something subtle changed. Eli began sitting longer at the table. He found himself waiting for breakfast instead of skipping it. Sometimes, he even spoke first. Aiyana listened, not to respond, but to understand. On the 7th day, fate intervened. Eli returned from the pasture late, limping badly. His horse had stumbled, twisting his knee. He brushed it off as nothing, but Aiyana saw through the lie instantly. "You're hurt," she said. "I'll manage." "No," she replied calmly. "You always manage. Tonight, you rest." She helped him sit, cleaned the swelling knee, and wrapped it carefully. No one had touched him with such care in years. The moment broke something inside him. That night, Aiyana prepared a special meal, slow-cooked stew, cornbread. Warm and nourishing. After dinner, she didn't clear the table. Instead, she lit a candle and sat across from him. "In my culture," she said softly, "when someone carries pain alone for too long, it becomes heavier than the body can bear." Eli felt his chest tighten. "You think being strong means being silent," she continued. "But silence doesn't heal. Connection does." And then she did something he never expected. She thanked him for hiring her when others wouldn't, for treating her with respect, for being kind without expecting anything in return. "No one has ever said thank you to me like that," Eli whispered. That was when the dam broke. Years of loneliness, unspoken grief, and buried emotions poured out. He cried openly, shoulders shaking, ashamed and relieved all at once. Aiyana did not interrupt. She stayed, present, steady, human. That moment changed Eli forever. From that night on, he was different. He rested. He healed. He smiled more. He asked Aiyana about her life, her heritage, her dreams. She told him about her hope to open a small community kitchen, one where no child would sleep hungry, where elders would feel remembered. When she eventually told him she would be leaving soon, Eli felt fear, but this time, he spoke. "You reminded me that I matter," he said. "I don't know how to thank you." On her final day, he handed her an envelope, not just with wages, but with enough to begin her dream. "You fed my body," he said. "You fed my soul." Aiyana hugged him gently. "You were never broken," she said. "You were just alone." After she left, the ranch was quiet again, but no longer empty. Eli began cooking, poorly at first, but with effort. He hired help. He visited town. And once a month, he donated anonymously to a small kitchen being built nearby. Because one week, one act of kindness, and one woman who chose compassion had taught him something powerful.